Councillor Sultan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have 5 questions, if you indulge me. My first question is to the Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Cauldwell is one of the most deprived wards in the entire borough, with some of the lowest levels of accessible green space. These small patches of land are a lifeline for families who often have no gardens, no private space, and limited disposable income. How can the council justify allowing deprived communities like Cauldwell to face the loss of the little green space they do have? What commitments will the council make to stop the erosion of green space in those parts of Bedford that need it the most?
As we said earlier, I'm well aware of the good quality green space being very, very important to residents. And I'm equally aware that this council is under immense pressure from the government to deliver good quality homes for residents to live in. This is both important to communities of both sides, and we are trying to make sure that people aren't priced out of buying their own homes and all the stuff that goes with it. Therefore, we need to keep a really careful balance on what is happening and to those relevant factors. And of course, I shall use those words that everybody loves to hear. This is a live planning application, and as I am not supposed to comment on those sort of things. But that doesn't mean that we can't comment on. But that doesn't mean that we can't comment on those green spaces which are so important.
Thank you. Just to reiterate, I'm not making any comments or statements on any live current applications. My next question is to Councillor Towler. Green spaces in deprived areas are not luxury, they are a necessity. In Cauldwell, they're the only safe place for children to play and the only access area for parents, older residents and people with health needs to get fresh air and exercise. What assessment has the Council made of the long-term harm to children's development, public health, air quality and community well-being when a ward like Cauldwell loses yet another green space? Does the Council accept that taking green space away from deprived communities like deepens existing health inequalities?
Thank you for the question. I will have to get an written answer for you. Will you accept that? We'll come back to you on it.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. My next question was earlier raised by Mr. Spencer, and again I'm going to ask to the Mayor and possibly Councillor Spice as well. More than 300 residents have signed a petition against losing the green space on Moor Lane, and over 30 formal objections have been submitted. An extraordinary response for a ward like Cauldwell. Residents are clearly saying they feel ignored and unheard. What assurance can the Council give that when hundreds of residents speak with one voice to defend a valued green space, their concerns genuinely influence policy rather than treat it as a procedural formality? Will the Council review whether its approach to community conservation is failing residents in deprived wards? And it's not a comment on a live application.
Rightio, I'm looking to my left. Of course, this will all go before Planning Committee, of which no one party has a majority, and that is something that I think it is a useful democratic tool to stop these sort of things going on.
Can I stop you just there, Mr. Mayor, because this is not about a live planning application?
But I'm commenting about the process, and that will go to the Planning Committee, which is not held by any one party. But Councillor Spice, do you want to help?
So, sorry, I'm confuddled a little bit. On planning applications, I know what you've said. On planning applications, every resident, as I said earlier, has an opportunity to put in an objection if that's what they feel. And if you feel that any development at any time is on a green space that you would like to not lose, then I would strongly encourage that you ask your residents to put in an objection. Contrary, also you have the support, but equally we are doing our new local plan. So we will have allocated green space in that as well. So it will all feed in together. But right now, I can't change a policy just here and now. So we'll just have to stick with what is in the plan right now. But again, as we have said, any planning application that comes in, whenever, you can all please do, because we have a democratic process where you can use your voice, so please do make sure that you register your objections.
Councillor
Madam
Murdo,
Speaker,
you
I'm
want to-
dreadfully sorry. You've made an effort to point out that there's an active and a live planning application. This is not something I'm familiar with at all. The line of inquiry here had nothing to do with an active planning application. It was more around the council's policies and attitude towards open green spaces, in particular a deprived area of this borough. It had nothing to do with it. But as usual, no answers and going off beat. And I would hope that we don't continue this line, because we could be in great danger of fettering an outcome of a planning application. And that was not from my friend to my left, Councillor, asking the question. It was about policy, attitude, and particularly around deprived areas.
Thank you, Councillor McMurdo.
I'll echo that. Thank you, Councillor McMurdo. My fourth question, again to the Mayor, but Councillor Spice or Councillor Gribble can participate. In more affluent wards, green spaces are protected, enhanced and celebrated. Yet in deprived wards like Cauldwell, green spaces seem to be the first area space under development pressure. Does the Council accept that this creates a two-tier system where wealthier areas retain their green space while poorer communities lose theirs? And what will the Council do to address the environmental inequality? How does the Council justify allowing any policy framework that could potentially facilitate the removal of green spaces from one of the borough's most vulnerable communities?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That question, I think, was to the Mayor. It was to the Mayor. It was, you're passing it over?
Passing the buck.
To you, sorry. Are you all right?
Yeah, no, my eye's watering.
Okay. I would hand on heart don't believe that your statement of trying to take away, as a general, the green area and a deprived area compared to other areas, that if I'm honest, that would upset me if that's what people thought we were doing. But we do have our housing targets that we do need to fit in both urban and rural areas. And again, I will refer back to the local plan and the planning policies that are in there, that as I have just recently said, we will be putting together a new timetable for a new plan, and then we can build in concerns and issues that you have, and we can look at it all when we're pulling this together. But there is already planning policy in place through the current local plan.
Thank you. Is that, are you finished? Because Councillor Van...
I'll make a comment. I would ask my fifth question, but I'll make a comment. I'll make a comment. I want to ask my fifth question. So, thank you. Despite the challenges our Cauldwell residents face, they have always valued and protected the few green spaces they have. These spaces are not luxuries. For many in Cauldwell, they're the only nearby places where children can play safely, where older residents can walk without barriers, and where families can gather without cost. In recent weeks, more than 300 residents have signed a petition, and over 30 have submitted formal comments to the Council. Their message is absolutely clear. They rely on this green space for their well-being, for their children, and for the sense of community that makes Cauldwell a special place to live. As councillors, regardless of political affiliation or ward, we have a responsibility to ensure our policies protect the people who need that protection most. This is especially true in communities with limited open space and higher health inequalities. I am speaking today not against any individual or organisation, but on behalf of residents whose voices must be heard. We must ensure that our strategic policies safeguard the limited green spaces available in deprived areas, and that community concerns on issues like this are taken seriously at every level of council decision making. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, was your question on that particular subject? So would Councillor Ryder mind if we just take Councillor Van before you, because it would be silly to move on and then come back to that subject?
Thank you. It's just a question, because we've had a lot of talk about planning, and thank you, Councillor Murdo, for that intervention on no one fettering their judgment, because that's really important. It's a question for the Mayor. Can I just ask, There's an executive decision listed for November 2025 called Disposal to the Pilgrim Investment Partnership, and it mentions the land owned at Mowbray Road. Can you let me know who the decision maker is for that decision that's on the plan, the forthcoming decisions plan, that's a public document?
I assume if it's an executive decision, I've signed it.
I don't believe you have, actually. It's on the forthcoming decisions list. So I'm just going to make a short statement, which is very clear that the way this has gone this evening to try and pass it on to the planning application is not appropriate, because there is an executive function which you can comment on and should comment on, which refers to the disposal of land owned by the council. And actually there are parks in some of the areas of greatest need at risk at the moment, and we've heard about Mowbray Road today. I would mention Silver Jubilee. We've heard petitions as well about Jackman's Farm, but Mowbray Road is listed as a decision, and it's in your name, the disposal of that property. So I think it's really important that people understand who the decision maker is, separate to and nothing whatsoever to do with a transparent quasi-judicial, planning process that operates in a different form, as you say. So there is an opportunity for residents to petition in relation to that yourself, and there is an opportunity for people to challenge you on that has nothing to do with planning whatsoever. And I just wanted to make that really crystal clear as a statement, because I think there was a risk of it being muddied this evening by talking about planning, but it's very clearly there is a decision in your name for November 2025 in the forthcoming decisions.
Thank you very much. And yes, I will finally clarify as well that Councillor Sultan, Councillor McMurdo and Councillor Van have made it very clear that that was not a planning, not relating to a planning application.